Hi guys, James at Rampant Lion Reviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to head over to America once again, and we're going to revisit a brewery that you've seen me review a good number of things from over the last little while. For this review we are going to return to Charlton in Massachusetts, which is of course home to Treehouse Brewing Company, and we're going to go to the dark end of the spectrum once again. So this particular beer is called the All That Is and All That Ever Will Be, and it's a milk stout coming in at 6.5% EBV. So this one, the last stout that I had from these guys, which you will have seen in the last video, the Hold On to Sunshine, that was absolutely, it was an absolutely beautiful, beautiful beer. It really reminded me of the Riptide that I had from Brewdog in Scotland, which was one of my favourite Brewdog beers along with Dogma back in the day actually. So I'm really curious to see how this one turns out. The milk stout is one of my favourite beer styles. Sweet stouts generally I really quite like, so do give me some other recommendations of those in the description below. But as I mentioned in that video as well, I love it when you go to a brewery that's famous for a particular style. You know, Trillium, Treehouse, Alchemist, Hill Farmstead. These are breweries that are famous for the hazy New England IPAs. So when it comes to trying different styles from these kind of breweries, I think it's always very, very interesting. So I really am very curious to see how this one turns out as well, because I was very impressed with the Hold On to Sunshine. So hopefully you guys enjoy my take on this one as well. Massive thank you once again to Chris Contreras, the American legend living in Belgium, who sent me some ridiculous beers over the last little while, and I hope that you guys, as I say, are enjoying these too. I hate to think how much he's spent on sending me beer, but obviously it's massively, massively appreciated. So anyway, as is usual with my reviews then, I'll tell you a little bit about the brewery here before we taste the beer. If you want to get straight to the tasting, just fast forward. All the usual links are in the description below. That's the brewery website, the link to my other reviews that hopefully I can do in the future from Treehouse Brewing Company. You will see one more, and beyond that, as I say, I hope we can add more. There's all the usual social media down there as well. If you want to see more beer reviews, do please consider subscribing to the channel. The whole channel, of course, has a geography-based tagging system, so you can go into the homepage and search for beer based on country, city, state, county, prefecture, whatever it is you're interested in. Do check out the playlists of beers from different countries. There is one there for all the American beers that I've reviewed for you. That's constantly being added to, and as always, please do get in touch and let me know some of the other beers and breweries that you guys would like to see me review. It's always great to hear from you guys that are watching the videos, and the support that you show the channel is hugely, hugely appreciated. So anyway, to tell you a little bit about Treehouse Brewing Company once again then, on to my brewery notes. So Treehouse Brewing Company, as I mentioned to you a little minute ago, are based in Charlton in Massachusetts, which is about halfway between Hartford and Connecticut to the southwest, and Boston and Massachusetts up on the New England coast in the northeast, and it was founded by four friends back in 2011. This is Dean Rowan, Nate Lanier, Damien Goudreau and Jonathan Weisbach, although I think Jonathan might not be involved in the company anymore. So Dean had a background as a plumber, Jonathan was a graphic designer, Damien co-owned and ran a gym, and Nate was a construction manager. But the guys had homebrewed together from around 2008 in Nate's kitchen, and then they moved to a small 2.5 acre farm in Brimfield, which had a treehouse on the edge of it, and it was this treehouse that would go on to inspire the name of the brewery. So the brewery continued to grow over the coming years, but in 2013 they moved to Corran Farm in Monson, which was owned by one of the founders' families, and it was there that they expanded their capacity from 150 to 900 US gallons per brew, or in real people, metric measurements as they're also known, this was 570 litres to 3,400 litres per brew. But they also opened up a tap room at this site as well. In 2016 though, the company bought land in Charlton, and they planned the construction of a 53,000 square foot or 5,000 square metre brewery, and this went on to open in May of 2017, and here they can produce 60,000 US barrels of beer, which again in real people metric measurements is 9.5 million litres per year. So the previous site at Monson is now home to their barrel aging programme, and over the last few years they've added a larger outdoor space to the brewery in Charlton, and also a mezzanine level as well in the brewery, so they've got lots of different things going on. But in 2019 they also purchased a farm in Woodstock down in Connecticut, and they apparently plan to experiment further with barrel aging down there and also open fermentation. So probably in the next year or so you will start to see some sour beers coming out of Treehouse Brewing Company, and I think that could be very, very interesting in fact. The head brewer at the brewery is Nate, out of the four founders, and according to Untappd these guys have produced just around 300 different types of beer as of October 2019, which is, you know, pretty impressive. I'm saying just there, but it's not a very good word to use, but yeah, 300 types of beer over the last kind of 4 years. That's pretty damn impressive. Really a very prolific brewery, this one, and as I say, very well known for their New England IPAs. Generally I would say, compared to the likes of Trillium and stuff like this, in my experience, Alchemist, their New England IPAs, they're quite rustic and farmhousey. The Treehouse ones are, you know, quite smooth and very, very drinkable, and the Trillium ones have got a little bit more bite to them, I think. So I always like it when you go around these breweries and find the different things. But their stout, the last stout that I had from these guys, as I say, the Hold On to Sunshine was very good, and from what I'm told, you can pretty much pick a style of beer from these guys that you'll enjoy, and it will turn out to be pretty damn good. And yeah, as I say, a big thank you to Chris for giving me this one, because this, I think, is a little bit more of an obscure beer for them, or from them I should say, so I think it's only really if you're in the New England area that you're going to have a chance of tasting this one, so I feel very privileged to have tried this. But yeah, that's all you really need to know about Treehouse Brewing Company for the moment. If you want to learn more, of course, check out the brewery website in the description below. You can follow them on Facebook and Instagram to keep up to date with all the latest goings on, and of course you can check out the Rate Beer and Untappd pages to see all the different beers and stuff that they have done. So yeah, let's get on to the actual tasting of this beer itself then. So as I mentioned to you earlier, this one is a 6.5% milk stout. Apparently this was one that Nate brewed to celebrate his and I think her name's Lauren, his wife's, second anniversary, because she seems to really like stouts, because the other one was it said it was brewed for Lauren as well, so maybe his wife just loves stouts, or yeah, I don't know, he's maybe brewing different stouts for each year of their anniversary, because, you know, it does, the artwork is fairly similar actually, and I have to say, this is, I probably will keep this can, because it's you know, I like space themes and stuff like that. I was an astrophysicist by trade, but yeah, I really like that, the stars and things, and obviously the name of this beer is a reference to, you know, the universe and stuff like that, and of course, you know, husband and wifely love, if you can call it that. But it says on the back here, all that is and all that ever will be is a milk stout brewed with coffee and rich dark chocolate. The chocolate flavour is intense, presenting like chocolate syrup and cocoa powder. It's shockingly delicious. All that is and all that ever will be celebrates the notion of an everlasting bond, one that can't be broken in spite of forces that might conspire against it. Enjoy. Milk stout, 1 pint, 6.5% by volume. So yeah, 473 milliliter can for this one, for those of us who use real people measurements, 1 US pint. So yeah, there you can see on the side, that is the Treehouse Brewing Company symbol there, the sort of, can't get the camera to focus on that sort of Whomping Willow type thing, which I think was Jonathan Weisbach who designed that. But yeah, let's get this guy out then and we'll get on with the tasting. I'm really curious to see how this beer turns out. So yeah, so as you can see, the head on this is going to be a bit crazy, I think. But I think, if I remember correctly, as I say, I was talking about Brewdog's Riptide earlier on, and I think that was about 6.5%, something like that as well. But as I say, that was one of my favourite Brewdog beers back in the day. Back in the day before Brewdog became the big corporate machine it is now, when I was studying chemistry in Aberdeen and they were just breaking out, if you like. But as you can see with this beer, it's poured a lovely dark ebony rosewood, and if I hold that up to the light, it is pretty much black as night. You are not going to find something blacker than that, I don't think, apart from space itself, pardon the pun. But yeah, you know, this one is, you know, that's a beautiful looking beer. There's a solid half finger of a frothy, I would say very dark tan head on this one. One or two big bubbles sticking towards the side of the glass, a few little ones heading up towards the bottom of that head there, but you know, overall it looks pretty damn nice, I have to say. And you know, the appearance of this beer is not surprising at all really when you consider what style it is. But you know, milk stouts, sometimes they can get a little bit of light through them, but if I hold this up to the light, there is nothing coming through that. It doesn't even have a little bit of that chestnutty sort of Coca-Cola coloured edge to it. It's black as night. So yeah, let's have a look at the aroma and see how we get on with this one then. Nothing surprising about the appearance of this beer. Yeah, that's really nice. It comes across, I mean, for a sweet stout and a milk stout, to be honest with you, obviously you would expect it to be a bit more kind of milky and chocolatey and things. You can smell the coffee coming out in this one, and as I've spoken about in other reviews, including the Hold On to Sunshine that I had from Treehouse before, the you know, the coffee beans, they can give you such a complexity to your beer. It's all about the height above sea level at which the coffee is grown. If it's above 2,000 metres, that's when you start getting these crazy fruity aromas out of it. I don't even drink coffee. I don't like coffee as a drink, but I love coffee beans and beers and stuff like that. Coffee stouts can be absolutely beautiful. But yeah, the aroma of this beer really, really is very nice actually. The coffee that comes out in this one comes across as very smooth, there is a little bit of a sort of floral aromaticity to it. You can pick that off. It does have a little bit of a kind of, it jumps out a little bit at you, I have to say. But around that you can definitely pick up the milky, lactosey notes to this beer. The chocolate that's in there comes across as a you know, sort of, it does have an element of milkiness to it, and at the same time it also has a little bit of the, how do you say, a little bit of the darker, you know, higher percentage cocoa chocolate. So it's well balanced in that sense. But yeah, a nice little bit of a roasty coffee earthiness in there. Definitely some nice smoothness also, and a little bit of you know, that chocolatey thing in there really is lovely. This, it leans towards the sweet side of things, this stout. There's no doubt about that. But you know, it does have that dark roasty earthiness in there too, and the dark roasty coffeeness, which I really like actually. I do like how this beer comes together in the aroma. It's not quite as complex as the other stout I had, but I personally like the sweetness of this, and I really like the way the chocolate's coming out in this one. You know, I've always said that since I've lived here in Sweden, the amount of the chocolate you get in Sweden, the Carl Fraser and the Marabou, it's amazing. Like, I love it. It's better than Cadbury's in my opinion. Not sure about Galaxy right enough. I do enjoy Galaxy chocolate back in Scotland, but yeah, the chocolatey notes in this one are absolutely beautiful. In terms of the hoppiness, there's a nice little bit of soft earthiness to this. You can also pick up a little bit of grassiness. There's not really a floral element to this one, but on the fruity side of things, there's a wee, you know, there is a wee touch of, there's a wee teeny bit of a raisiny sharpness to it, but that's very, very minimal. You really have to search for that. And it's got a nice juicy figgy and sort of blackcurranty, blackberry note to the beer as well. But I mean, overall, it really is a very nice smelling beer, this one. Take a bit of time and just enjoy that aroma before you actually try it, because it does come across very nicely. It is quite a nostalgic beer for me, this one. As I said, again, this makes me think of the Riptide from Brewdog. It's just the coffee element that's a little bit different. So yeah, let's have a taste of this one then and see how we get on. This one is the all that is and all that ever will be, a 6.5% milk stout from Treehouse Brewing Company in Charlton in Massachusetts over in America. Once again, a huge thank you to Chris Contreras for making this review possible. Let's get stuck in. Slàinte, skål. Yeah, that's absolutely beautiful. That really is very good. When I had a little check at the rating of this beer on Untappd earlier, it said it was like 4.4 or 4.5? It was something like that. So this is a very highly rated beer, and I'll tell you straight away, you can see exactly why with this. This is lovely. It feels very, very thick as well, but that doesn't take away from its drinkability. I mean, with stout beers, you know, I mean, it's the IPAs and stuff like that. The IPAs are this kind of sessionable beers. The stout's the kind of beer that you end the night on. But I mean, this one, to be honest, this one that you would have if you think, all right, we're going to do a bit of a, you know, a stout tasting tonight. This is maybe the one that you'd kind of kick it off with, actually, because it does come across as quite nice and light and drinkable. It's got a beautiful flavour, but it is nice and drinkable. As I said, I mean, for me, as you know, when you're reviewing these beers on YouTube, you tend to, quite often I'll try one beer, and you know, that's the only time I'll ever drink it. It's the only time we'll try it. I don't really drink beer outside of the videos that I do anymore. I don't really drink alcohol outside of the videos that I do anymore. So for me, the whole beer thing is a bit of a kind of foodie tasting thing. But if you were going to have like a tasting night with different stouts and stuff, this is the ideal one to start with, I think. That's probably a fair statement to make about this beer. Yeah, so to me, generally, this one comes across. It's one of the more toasty sweet stouts that you're going to come across. This beer's all going to me, this one. I'm not sharing this, but it is. You know, I'm on my own in the house tonight, so yeah. But yeah, this one is really just. It's a lovely, light, drinkable stout. This beer. Straight away with this one then, we'll break the flavour down. You're getting that nice kind of roasty coffee base. That just blankets the middle of your tongue there. It's almost, it reminds me actually, the coffee that comes out in this one reminds me a little bit of the carafa malt that you get from Weirmann. in Bamberg in Germany. It really has that kind of vibe to it, just a lovely soft kind of note to it. So definitely it's almost like a bit of a kind of toasty bread crusty thing that you're getting across the middle of your palate. But the coffee flavours in this beer, they came across as a little bit more floral and things in the aroma, and you do get a little bit of that as you come, the whole middle of your palate is kind of infused, if you like, and as you come further forward on the tongue you'll get the more kind of floral parts of the coffee, but I think as you go further towards the back of your tongue, that's where you get the more earthy, slightly more toasty notes out of it, but you can feel the sort of lactosey layer sitting on top of that and just smoothing the whole thing out. So it's really, it's interesting how that flavour comes together actually. Yeah. This is definitely one of those beers where it's all about how it fits together rather than any one element being overly punchy or anything like that. So yeah, I do like, as I say, I do like how that goes together. In the centre of your palate, that's where the kind of chocolatey notes come out in this beer. And again, I would say it's quite well balanced actually. You can get some of that darker, you know, 80-90% cocoa chocolate, but then you also get some of the milky chocolate elements coming out of it. And I think milk chocolate's usually like, what, 30-40%, something like that. You can really get that out of this beer as well in the middle of your palate. You might be forgiven for thinking there's a little touch of a brown sugary note in the middle of your palate too, and that'll be the thing, that'll be where the alcohol's coming out. You always get the boozy flavours in the very centre of your palate, I find, and they come across with that little bit of brown sugary element actually. But yeah, you can get as well, you'll find that you do get those almost red fruity notes that if you have a very high cocoa chocolate, it always gives you that red fruity-ish note on the palate as well, and you can detect a little bit of that in the middle of your tongue too. That's very interesting what goes on in the middle of your tongue. You can feel just a bit of fruitiness in the centre of your palate the further that you move into the aftertaste as well. This one, it's definitely not as complex as the Hold On to Sunshine was, but it really is, it's very different actually. I think it is fair to say it has the same smoothness and things to it, but it's a very, very different beer actually, so I can see why these were the two that Chris wanted to send me. This really is a very nice sweet stout, but it does have a nice little bit of a slightly roasty backbone to balance it out actually. So, you know, thumbs up once again to Treehouse Brewing Company for this one. They've done a very nice job of this. So it's not, this one definitely, as I say, not as complex and not the most complex stout that you're going to find, but it is really quite nice, I have to say. I like the balance that this beer has. On the hoppy side of things then, back corners of the palate there is a little bit of earthiness in there. It's quite smooth actually, and as you come further forward along the tongue, it does just smoothen out a little bit. As you reach the front corners of the palate, you'll detect a little bit of a floral quality in there, and then round the very front curve of the tongue, it's just that little bit lighter and more grassy actually, which is nice. So yeah, I really like how that comes together in this one. The fruity side of this beer is quite nice too. So as I always say, the fruity side of the beer comes out in that little oily bubble behind the front kind of curve of your tongue. And for me, when you take this one in, it has a little bit of a sort of raisiny sharpness to it, but then the further that you go into the aftertaste, it's got a little bit of a kind of figgy, it does get a little bit more figgy as you come further forward on the palate, and then it's a little bit blackberry-ish and blackcurranty the further that you go into the aftertaste as well. So it's really kind of interesting, as I say, how all of that goes together. So take a little bit of time and just reflect over that. This is quite nice. I mean, you do get a little bit of fruitiness in the middle of your palate too from the chocolatey elements, because they have added the chocolate into the beer in this one, from what I understand. So you will get things in strange places with this beer, but this is a beautifully balanced beer. I like how this one goes together. The fruit, the further you go into the aftertaste, the lactosey notes come out, a little bit of the fruity kind of sharpness is there as well, and overall it's just a really, really very nice beer, this one. I mean, you know, take my hat off to Trillium Brewing Company for this one. This is a style that I really enjoy, and they have impressed me with this beer. So I certainly wouldn't hesitate to drink this one again. When I go and visit the brewery, if they've got this on tap, I probably will do a little taster of this one actually, and see how it goes. So yeah, in terms of the mouthfeel then, It's at the top end of mid-bodied, bottom end of full-bodied. It would, obviously it would be a bit thicker if it was an imperial stout, right enough, a higher percentage. But it does, this stout is just a nice kind of drinkable one. You would drink this a little bit faster than you would an imperial stout, obviously. But it's a really nicely crafted beer, this one. I think it's fair to say that. So yeah, kind of top end of mid-body, bottom end of full-body, this one. It's one of the thicker, low-alcohol stouts you're going to find, if that makes sense. I would say carbonation, as I say, very smooth. In terms of bitterness, this beer must have about 30 IBUs or something like that, maybe 25 or 30, something like that. You've got that little bit of earthiness and a bit of the coffee giving you some bitterness too. The malt base overall, again, I say it leans a little bit towards the sweet side of things, but it does have that roasty element to it as well, and a nice little bit of a sharp kind of red, fruity and juicy element to the beer also. So a really, really nice tasting beer, this one, that you'd need to try if you get the chance. As I say, a style that I very much enjoy, and this one has really impressed me. It does remind me a lot of Brewdog's Riptide, just with a little bit more of a kind of coffee-ish element, if that makes sense. The Riptide for me is more of a kind of straight up stout, if that makes sense, a little bit sweeter and things, but this one does have that little bit of roasty backbone that you want from from your stout beer. But definitely an all-American stout, this one. The sweet side of things definitely coming out in this beer. So yeah, let's leave it at that for this one. A really enjoyable beer, this one, and I'm glad that this was one of the stouts that Chris picked to send to me, so a huge thank you to him for making this review possible once again. So yeah, I hope you guys have enjoyed my take on this beer. It's been awesome to review this one for you. We do have one more Treehouse beer that we'll review, and that was Chrissy's favourite, so that's why we've left that one until last. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this Treehouse mini-series. Let me know your own thoughts on this beer in the comment section. Let me know what your favourite beers are from Treehouse Brewing Company as well. Do give me some other milk stout recommendations. I always enjoy doing those. But thank you again for watching, and I will catch you guys very, very soon. This one is the All That Is and All That Ever Will Be, a milk stout coming in at 6.5% from Treehouse Brewing Company in Charlton in Massachusetts over in America. Until the next time, slàinte just now, and I'll catch you guys later. Slàinte, skål, cheers.